Welcome back to Scratching the Surface. My name is Justin, aka Money.
And my name is Cody, aka Junes.
And guys, thanks for hopping back up on the saddle with us on this Oktoberfest of a train. We're gonna have episodes releasing pretty much every week for October. Um, and right before this, Junes and I were kind of talking. We're coming up on our 1 year anniversary, which is pretty nuts.
Yeah, I can't believe how fast it's gone. It's been an amazing year, and the horror genre is a special thing. We say it every time, and to look back on it, all the episodes we've done, the times we've had, the people we've met along the way, it's been really cool. And today, I'm really excited to start our October season off with a very strong movie. I know the reception was great when it first hit theaters. And that money is Speak No Evil, director James Watkins. For me, this was a great time, and I'm super stoked to talk about it.
Yeah, I rented it last night. Didn't end up going to it in theaters. Kind of disappointed with myself at that, but some things happen. Uh, whatever. But it still just as good at home, I feel like, as it would have been in theaters. But this was a good watch. I'm excited to dive into it a little bit. Junes, without further ado, I think you know, getting into it a little bit now, I think this whole movie to me just flowed. You know what I mean? Like just even from the beginning to the middle to the end, where obviously there's a lot more action, but even the beginning, it just like it kept me entertained the whole time. I don't know how you felt about that, but just like the characters we meet, I think it's more of the dialogue and some of like the obscure conversations we see and the like the vulgar language on the Danish couple that we see. And then just being in Italy too, you see a lot of people around, and it's just the way they talk in front of everybody a little bit and like touch each other and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the perfect film for couples, really, or any kind of family
Yeah,
that has a kid. Because when you're around people like this that are so vulgar and do act out of ordinary, sometimes you don't really know what to say to them. Like you want to be honest with them and be like, "You're acting like a jackass. You're just
yeah,
acting fucking weird. This is not how you behave in a public setting." And this movie is exactly about those situations because we've been there. And as a couple, sometimes you meet other couples and you usually hit it off some nights and you're like, we really like that couple. Let's hang out with them again. And this movie really takes that and puts it on its side and asks the question, what if that couple that you were hitting it off with and befriended were not the best people? And that's really a great premise to work with. It's based off the 2022 original Danish film, and there is a very different ending in that original film than what we have in Speak No Evil. You could say this one is a little bit more full of positivity, whereas the original was definitely more pessimistic at the ending. So I want to try to watch it at some point, Money. I don't know when I will.
mhm.
This is a tense movie. And like you said, it really flows from scene to scene. The first act, just getting introduced to the characters, was done really well. And I was invested in these characters and I was enjoying going from scene to scene. I know our cast wasn't super big either, so that helps. I
No,
think that always
yeah.
helps if you can have a pared down cast of good characters that you can get invested with and enjoy watching. I think that helps it out a lot. I love the first act. I think the first act is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I thought the first act was really, really good. It just flowed. We met everybody we needed to. They ended up getting invited back to their native home on the farm. And it was really good, cinematography on their end. Even like the hiking scenes we see after they kind of get settled in. Just the shot of like the farm as they're pulling in that long driveway through like the little overhang barn, if you will, and then up into the like little parking lot they have. So that was all cool. And I just love the style of the home they were in, that all the little antiques and things within the house. Um, Obviously a lot of rooms, a lot of hiding spots for later, but just all these little knickknacks and things and like I just like all the little interactions and just like that organic life is the best way I can like describe it. A lot of the stuff they do there is organic. So even like the drinks and some of the food they offer is very organic. On some side notes too with like Ant, because I do want to shine, some light on him. uh, born with a condition where he's unable to like communicate. Obviously not true as we learn that later on. But you see the relationship between him and Agnes grow, and just the subtle hints he's trying to drop to her. The scene with the watch, whatever was written on the back of that. Obviously, she couldn't read. I, as myself, couldn't read. I didn't know what it said, but and then to see Patty like see that his watch was like crooked a little, it
Just a
just
little
reminded me
bit.
of like Split when he had OCD.
Oh,
He just like straightened it back out. Um, but yeah, so stuff like that, you see the relationship grow. You have the big, giant scene at the end where, or towards the later half, under like the cellar, with them. But they grow close, and she feels bad like the first or second time they try to leave this place. Uh, so yeah, she was pretty sad. So like, um, Ant's definitely a character, even though he can't talk. He's smart as hell though too. At the same time, like for I don't know how long he would have been there from like the last family they would have captured, but it was cool to see him just know the works of the place, try to help himself and not himself, but also the next victims of the family rolling through that farm. So yeah, really, really loved the first half. We saw a lot of hints drop and just the passive aggressive behavior. Like I said, it just kept drawing me in. Even like I looked over, my wife at on sitting on the couch, and I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, that one scene he like grabs him and like throws him basically because he's like just pissed off and he's calling him that's my boy and he's always trying to
mhm.
like rough him up and trying to like ensue like masculinity into him a little because he thinks he's kind of like being a little bitch, and he just the behavior, the song, the scene with the Cotton Eye Joe where they're performing their dance, that was intense.
It was
That was one of the
very.
more intense scenes I think, kind of in that first half for me, because oh dude, it was just like you almost get like a little secondhand embarrassment just from like watching it because you're just like, if I saw that out in public, I'd react the same way they did. So it's things like that that just were so good, and the actors that played this, and James McAvoy was just unbelievable in
Mhm.
this.
Yeah. Well, with Louise and Ben, that's why I've just said it before with couples that are too trusting. The whole idea of the film and towards the end is they're doing this because you let us. And yes, we're not good people. We're conning people essentially, and we're not doing good things. But you,
Yeah,
as the couple that was foolishly and naively trusting us, are the ones that put yourselves in danger. And you never did anything to get yourself out and to protect yourselves, to save yourselves. And God, there's just so many moments when you do see some of those weird things that Patty's doing. You're like, fucking say something, Ben. Do something. Obviously, no man should be acting like that. Like, that's toxic masculinity to the fucking extreme. And
yeah,
Ben doesn't have the fucking courage and the nuts just to tell him, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Stop. And there was a few
yeah,
moments where he did, and that was enjoyable because you were thinking to yourself, thank you. I'm glad to see him trying to stand up and actually say something because with the infidelity and their relationship between Ben and Louise, there's just this level of little motivation to improve the relationship, and they're not really trying to grow as a couple. It seems like they've become so stagnant, and there's this constant back and forth about why don't you stick up for our family? Why don't you try to be more manly and be more masculine? Because we see that with Ben a lot throughout the movie. I think this is the prototype of a man who is a little bit more, he's drawn back. He's not going to be a man of action. And I think that is something more common today. There's one scene that stuck out with me too, Money, when they
yeah.
take him out to the oceanside dinner. That was so elaborate. I don't know how long they've been using this exact spot to do that dinner, but my God, that's a good scene.
Yeah, yeah. And just the shot you see, like, oh, this it's that one building just enclosed by all those hills, and then you have the sea right there. Yeah, that was nice. The speaking of scenes though that stuck out to you, the one that there's one scene in this whole entire movie. I don't even know if you'd call it a scene, but just a moment that pissed me off, Junes. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, when Agnes, they had to go back for Hoppy. They're on the road leaving, and nope, because her mom is just so protective of her, and pretty much forces Ben to stop the car, turn around. They go back, and then, obviously just a whole nother event spiral. But they were out, dude. Like they
Yeah.
were on the road, gone. He just like, we can order another one. Well, whatever, we'll get you. And she's like, no, I need this one. And you know how it is. So it's just like, that even my wife was just like so mad at that. She's like,
Yeah.
why? Like this movie's going to be based off of that, like, because that little decision, you know, uh, really it put their lives at stake. They didn't
Yeah, that
know
was
it,
a
but it did.
huge. And I love how Ben was struggling with it because that full
He's
first
like,
half of the movie, yeah, you gotta grow up. You're 12
yeah,
years
you're
old.
12.
You don't need your
Exactly.
fucking teddy. And there's a part of you that wants your kid to stay young in a way, and Ben really struggles with that. And it adds
Hmm.
to the scene so well when you see him really contemplating there. He's like, fuck, do we really got to go
Yeah.
back for this goddamn toy? I don't know what's going to happen if I do go back. And when they pull back up to the house, he basically tells Louise, "I'll be back in 2 minutes. I'm just gonna go get the teddy and I will fucking leave." And this is where the rest of the movie really starts to fucking unfold, and things just get really out of hand. Like the Cotton Eye Joe scene that comes up after that. I mean, things just get worse and worse, and you can tell that Patty and Ciara are getting a little weirder and weirder for the rest of the movie after that point.
Yeah.
You don't know what they're gonna do. You don't know what kind of lie they're gonna make up. They lied about being a doctor, and they basically lie twice about being a doctor because once they
Yeah.
actually catch them lying about it, they lie again. So you don't know what these guys are up to.
Yeah. They're really just master manipulators, and this the way they can pull this off and like make everything seem legit just puts a perfect bow tie on this for me, because it's just like I could just watch it right now again. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it was that good. But yeah, like you said, it does pick up after some of those events we just talked about. But yeah, like obviously one of the key scenes in the whole entire movie, in my opinion, was Aunt showing Agnes the cellar, all the luggage, the book of previous families, the little table of everyone's cell phones and things like that. So obviously, for any of the audience members that would watch this movie, that moment really, I think, ties it in. And then Agnes trying to relay the message, just be the, little messenger girl to her parents, like, hey, you got to believe me on this. And then, she did take some photos too of that book. So like, I think Ben and Luis were looking through it, and they're like, oh my God, we got to get the fuck out of here. And they're trying to play it cool, put on a brave face, act like nothing's happening. Um, and this for me was one of the more intense parts of the movie. After this, when they have that little meeting in their room, they're like, okay, we're gonna act like everything's fine. We're just gonna try to leave. But Ben's like, oh, I think we've been drinking too much. I need to get some coffee in me. So they do, and they try to get out of there, but it's Hoppy up in the gutter, and then it was a flat tire first, and then I think Hoppy up in the gutter. But just I'm like, I literally looked at my wife and I'm like, what is gonna happen next? Because it's that, then it's the tire, then it's the bunny or whatever, and he's like on the ladder fucking with him, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, what is gonna happen?
It's so
Like I'm just
crazy.
so invested in this right now.
Both couples are aware of what's going on. Obviously, Ben and
Yeah,
Louise now know
yeah,
this is a fuck situation, and then Patty and Sierra now know they're onto us, and we got to
right,
do whatever we
right.
can to fucking keep them here. We've invested too much time in this. This needs to go successful. I tell you what, the amount of money when we see the next few scenes that these guys are trying to draw from their savings account, fucking insane. I mean, we're talking a couple $100,000. I think this couple is trying to take from them.
Yeah. And it's probably Ben's business.
Mhm.
But yeah, so you kind of had a moment there where you're like, holy shit, we're seeing like the real version of Patty now, and Ciara, but like he's like, give me your money, transfer it now, whatever, whatever. They're all tied up. But she's able to get a razor blade and cut him. And this whole time too, Agnes had that ketamine shot, which I totally forgot about, and that happens at the end, before Patty's death. But that was, and then from there, it's just all hell breaks loose. But I love those, like, just a killer in the house. But it's like I said, it's with the twist, to you earlier before we started, because It's like home invasion vibes, but it's within the killer's house, which normally doesn't happen.
Hmm.
The killer usually goes out to someone else's house, obviously. Um, but it's on his, it's like a home field advantage for him in a way. And I love the scenes. He's like fucking with them. He's like pounding on the brick. He's like trying to talk to Ben, getting their heads a little. And if you remember, Junes, they had a little hunting scene. He likes the hunt more than anything else. So for
Chef's
him to
kiss.
do this, yeah.
I hope you
So
bring that
it's
up. It's so enjoyable to watch. You're really watching someone that is a master at their work. The way he does rage is really unmatched in our current set of actors that we have. I mean, he's a big time name. When you need a character like this, you want to see McAvoy taking on that challenge. He's fucking amazing. And
yeah,
the one reason we ended up stuck in this situation again, Money, is they almost got out a second time. They almost did, and then they basically throw Ant into that pond, and that's what
yep,
fucking made him stick around because they wanted to save Ant. So then,
yeah,
yeah, we end up fucking tied up, and it just everything's crazy. And then the one guy that was at that restaurant on the ocean side, the chef, comes back to help
yep,
them out and try to also help keep them at the farm. So everything is just super chaotic. We're trying to go through rooms, we're trying to climb on roofs, we're trying to get down ladders. We're just doing whatever we can to escape this place. And we get kind of creative with some of those fight scenes that Ben and Louise have that they need to get creative. We got to figure out a way to combat these guys. We don't have weapons on us at the moment, but we can try to make something up. I think there's like sulfuric acid was one of them that they found in the house to kind of combat them. So there was a lot of good scenes, some
yeah,
ingenuity in those. So good times for sure.
yeah. It was, and I almost felt bad too, because I wanted to shed some light to this really quick. With Ciara, she had a moment there, and I want to know what you thought too. She was like, "I was his first. Like, you got to help me." And then she like goes back to hunting them. So she like, I didn't know if she was going to show mercy to them
Yeah.
or actually do anything, but we had a quick moment there where she was like, "You got to help me, like I was his first. You got to believe me." And they lock her ass out with Patty in that room, I think the bathroom at first or something. And right before she dies, she's going out the window, she's pointing a shotgun at him, and Luis just comes from behind, like hits her. She falls like, I don't know, probably 20, 25 feet, dies on impact, basically. Um, but even like before her death, it almost looked like she was going to say something or do something or just like put the gun down, just wanted to try to talk quick. Um, and Luis just boom, like hits her. She fall, and I felt, like, I don't know what to feel right now. I felt sad, but I'm just like, I wish she almost would have lived to, so we could hear her story. But that also, I think, just threw a huge curveball into the mix where, she admitted like, I was his first. You got to believe me. So
It seemed like one of
I'm
those
I'm curious how it would have
situations
played
where,
out.
yeah, one of those situations where she was kind of stuck in this predicament with this guy. And Patty, obviously, I think we saw a few scenes early in the film where she had some bruises on her body. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's extremely abusive towards her,
I'm
and
just,
she is
oh man.
submissive in a sense. And there was a part of her that seemed like she was considering letting them go, but obviously, when
Yeah. Yeah.
that much money's on the line, and she has Patty kind of controlling her as he
Yeah.
wants, it's hard for her to make that decision. And there's some good kills. I love the fight or flight scenes. That's when you really think to yourself, like, oh my God, like we're really in this shit. We are in the fight of our lives. And that's
Yeah.
really fun to watch. Super tense, a lot of good stuff. And we end with that kill from Ant on Patty. I thought
Dude.
that was fucking awesome. I love that. That's so cool because we're about to leave. We're about to just let him go. We're gonna let Patty go on the ground. And we have Ant that's like, fuck this guy. Fuck this weirdo.
I
This
would
guy's
say the
been an
same thing.
asshole to me. I know I'm just a kid, but dude, I've seen some shit. And Ant takes up that fucking brick and just, oh, I'm proud of Ant. I'm proud of Ant.
I would literally, I was like, there's no way they just walk away with him like alive still. Like Agnes pumped him with
Yep.
ketamine or whatever. And so he's paralyzed basically. So I don't even know if he would have felt anything. I'm sure he did. He just got a freaking cinder block smashed into his face like 10 times, but he like just paralyzed, like you can't move. You're just like, and I'm like, they're walking away, and I'm like, there's no way they let him live. And then Ant comes out of nowhere, and we hear him like legit scream though for the first time too, like a clear
Mm-hmm.
just burst of energy, a scream that we haven't heard the whole movie, and that kind of captivated his whole character a little bit. Like the release, he probably would have felt the weight off his shoulders. He's escaping. Patty's dead. Kiara's dead. They don't have to live this life anymore. They can, just go back and try to live a normal life, but like, survive basically is what I'm trying to get at. Just get out alive. So, such a great way to end the movie. And Patty's last words, "That's my boy,"
That's my
as he just
boy.
takes it, as he takes a cinder block to the face. I'm just like, wow. Just adds more to his character. It's
It
like,
does.
like he knows he's gonna die probably, but just to say that for his like ego, his character, his yeah, that was phenomenal. So they have on Rotten Tomatoes a audience score of 85%.
Let's go, baby.
So I
Let's
was like
go.
pretty happy to see that too. They have a critic score of 83%.
Goddamn,
Is neck and
even
neck,
Steven.
neck
Wow.
and neck. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's
and
amazing.
I thought it was pretty fair. Obviously, I'm gonna want to hear your exact score and see how close it is to this, how it is to mine, so on and so forth. Um, but I can get into it first if you want, Junes. But yeah, Speak No Evil, damn good. So damn good. I love the idea behind every character, the ideas of playing lies against each other, trying to figure each other out. And, we have a society today where you see behavior, you're either raised around it, unfortunately, or you're raised around other things that, influence you in other ways to have an emotion about, like, I was raised not to hit people and do all these other things. And you see this and it makes you feel uncomfortable. And I think that's the aim they were going for, just this passive aggressive behavior. Um, and to, all the conversations, all the things that were brought up about like, hey, no, like let them do this, let them play, let them, whatever, whatever. And just the vulgar language. And it's just like two completely different lives being folded out here for us with Patty and Kiara and Ben and Luis, just two different sides of how they want to raise their kids. And to see that throughout the whole first act and a lot of, bits throughout the second half, it was awesome. But you get to see the lies being told later on and figuring these things out slowly, one by one by one. But the setting was great, cinematography was great. We learned about the relationships between everybody. It was truly truly phenomenal. Um, the second half obviously I liked better, but the last like 30 minutes, the chase scenes, the improvisation, um, how to just stay alive, Patty's taunting it all. I you know it's serial killers, home invasion, just vibes, and I loved it. He's just playing with his meat, as the chef said. That's one of the lines he had. He's like,
Yep.
why you got to play with your food, just go after them and kill them. And he's like, nope, nope, and he's just like pounding on the wall. But so it's stuff like that, and I love the hell out of those things. But with all things being said, this was a phenomenal movie. I highly highly recommend it. uh uh it's so good, it's so good to me. But I am going to be in the ballpark of Rotten Tomatoes, but I slightly above average. I'm going right
Woo!
at a 9.0.
Oh, God damn money. Oh,
So
that's a score.
it's strong. It is
Ooh.
super strong. But like I said in the whole, like I at the beginning, this whole time, this for the most part, this movie had me on the hook. I think it was that good, and I'll go to the grave with it. It was that good. It was that
Very,
good.
very well said. And there's just so many things that I agree with on this film, and to see
It's
the critics and audience be
It's
as
for
in
me.
line as they are.
Yeah, for me too. It's really James McAvoy's character uh carrying this movie. It is.
He
Um,
absolutely carried. Yeah,
it's
fuck
it's
yeah, he did.
carried by him. So
He's
he's unbelievable. I think any movie going forward we review Junes with him is probably going to be like a 7.5 or higher. I would say for sure.
even if his character is a similar one from movie to movie, I'm bought into it. I love watching it. It's so captivating to see on
Yeah.
screen. It's so fun to watch. And we have the whole group come together really well. A premise that is really intriguing. As a person that is in a relationship, it's really cool to watch a film like this to see how a couple would respond when they're amongst these bad actors that they don't know about.
Hmm.
The entire time in the first act is really, really smooth from scene to scene. You're trying to put the pieces together. It keeps the audience captivated and latched on, interested in the movie. I love this setting. Like you said, the cinematography is gorgeous. We have some of the English countryside, which is really beautiful. I love watching some of that. To have all the moments of suspense and some of those moments of, okay, we should probably leave, are really good because you don't know if they're going to make it happen, if it's going to work out. And then stuff with the little toy bunny, stupid shit like that is infuriating, but it is fun to watch because you're like, no, just don't go back,
I
leave, go,
know.
leave.
Sucks.
And I mean, everything was really beautifully done. Some of the rage scenes from McAvoy are just fucking chef's kiss. So good, so damn good. I
Yes.
love watching some of those moments, and there you're constantly wondering what's going to happen, where is this going to go, and how deep is this? Because this did go very deep. They've been doing this for years. There's been many couples that did lose their lives, unfortunately, and were killed. So these guys are fucking probably swimming in money from these people. Everything was really well done. There's not a whole lot of downside here, and I know that with the original having it in a more of a pessimistic way with the family actually getting killed, I like to see some of the optimism. We need to have some happiness in our lives. We need to see that hero story. We need to see the family live to see another day. I like that. I think it ends on a good note, and it adds to McAvoy's character when he says, "That's my boy,"
I
because it's
know.
like
I
he almost
know.
wanted it. So there's that win that you get at the end, but at the same time, it's like this guy wanted it in a way. So I'm just glad to see the couple got out and lived. I thought the ending was satisfactory. And with everything we've talked about, I have to go with an 8.2. This is a very
Okay.
strong film. I wouldn't put it in the 9 range. Very enjoyable though. Like you said, the hook was on immediately though. Watching this film, I was totally entertained throughout the movie. And there's not a lot of downside. Honestly, there's not a lot of downside. And hour and 50 minutes, I think it's a fairly quick watch. I never felt like it was getting long. Everything was enjoyable for the most part. And I'm really glad we got to talk about this because it's been a big movie in the last 3 weeks. And I know there's been a lot of buzz about it. And I'm glad I watched it. God damn it. It's been a strong year for horror money. And I don't know. I just have fun talking about it, man.
Yeah, I highly anticipated Speak No Evil. Great reviews. We both obviously recommend it. If you're a James McAvoy fan, obviously go see this. Um, if you are in a relationship, I almost argue to people like go watch it with your other half. Go watch it with your spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend. Like go see it together because you will get some reactions out of each other. It's it's that good. Like it's just shit like that. It's you're gonna see your partner and be like, what?
That's
So and it,
why
but it, you know, it's almost like it's the movie is interacting with you to get a reaction out of you in a way, and it's I don't know. So I just you heard it here, 9.0 and an 8.2. So what is that at eight
it's a good
five
score.
average or six
It's a good
average?
score.
So um, which we're right on par with Rotten Tomatoes too for the most
Mm.
part for an average. So guys, Junes, it has been a pleasure again. If you haven't already, give us a follow, give us a like, comment on what you guys want to see. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts at Scratching the Surface 100. If you want to see our faces and interactions, we are on YouTube, like I said, but go check us out on those other platforms. Speak No Evil, amazing, just recently released. Highly recommend it. So,
As do I, Money. It's great to be here. Keep watching horror, people. Keep watching horror. We love it. We love talking at Money. It was great to be here. I love you.
love you too. Thanks, guys.